Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Entrepreneur, and let's take a long, hard look at the accident that killed the woman in Tempe, Arizona, and the Uber car. Let's look at what we know. Facts are still changing. Some of these things may be different in a future video. I will make an update video at that point, but let's look at what we know so far and see if we can, at the very least, make an educated guess on whether or not this was an accident that could have been avoided. Because so far, we do know that let's actually just take a look at this. A woman was struck and killed on Sunday night by an autonomous car operated by Uber in Tempe, Arizona. It was believed to be the first pedestrian death associated with driver technology. What we know about the accident now, it says the car, a Volvo XC90 sport utility vehicle outfitted with Uber sensor system, was in the autonomous mode when it struck Elaine Hertzberg, a 49-year-old woman, around 10 p.m. on Sunday. There was a human safety driver at the wheel, but the car was carrying no passengers. The vehicle was doing about 40 miles per hour on a street with a 45 mile per hour speed limit when it struck Ms. Hertzberg, who was walking her bicycle across the street, according to Tempe police. Now, what's interesting about the miles per hour thing is that this seems to change a lot. Last I heard, it was a 38 mile per hour and a 35 mile an hour speed zone. So, when we get the final word, I guess we'll know about that. But let's look at this map that they said. So, as you can see, the self-driving Uber was traveling north at about 40 miles per hour. Elaine Hertzberg was struck while walking her bike across the street somewhere in the area. The body seen in this area. But look at that street. One of the things that has been stated about this accident is that she came out of the shadows. There was no way you could have possibly seen this. Now, when I heard that, I assumed the road was maybe this big. And here's the car. And so she just kind of came out of nowhere. But look at that. There is at least a few lanes. I mean, if there was an active driver who was paying attention to the whole road, while it might have been difficult to not hit her, it definitely looks like there's room to notice. And should the car have noticed? Well, let's look a little bit more down, because this is how the self-driving car works. One, there's the lidar unit. Constantly spinning, it uses laser beams to generate a 360-degree image of the car surroundings. Then you have the cameras that use parallax from multiple images to find the distance to various objects. Cameras also detect traffic lights and signs and recognize moving objects like pedestrians and bicyclists. 3, you have the main computer, which is located in the trunk. That's pretty self-explanatory. Then you have more radar sensors on, I think that's the back of the vehicles. Measure the distance from the car to various obstacles. And then 5 additional lidar units. So, anyway, look at all those things. Those are what, track the area. Now, what's the car see? Well, this is what the car sees. As you can see, the red fences locations where the car will need to stop. The pink boxes are vehicles, and the red boxes are cyclists, which, it should be noted, she had a bicycle. A pedestrian is one of those yellow boxes, and the green fences, that's the location where the car may need to slow down. Now, when you look at that, it's kind of impressive, really. I'm not going to lie. That's kind of impressive. But they have 2 colors, one for bicyclists and one for pedestrians. And yet, they said there was no time for the computer to see her. Well, let's go back up. I don't know. It looks like there's enough space to see her. I mean, I could be wrong, but it looks like there is. And if the car is veering right, then there should have been time to see it. That's a big road. You don't just... It's hard to come out of the nowhere on that. You have those cameras and the lidar. Why didn't you notice the bicycle, the pedestrian? And of course, I would argue that if someone was constantly paying attention, always looking, I have avoided a lot of really scary close calls from people and animals and kids that have come out of nowhere. But I was constantly paying attention, and thus I was able to stop. And that's probably why the driver didn't see. They probably weren't paying attention. I mean, maybe they were, but maybe it was kind of a halfway paying attention thing because, the car is driving itself. How much do you need to pay attention? So I don't know. I'm just looking at that and I don't know. Now, what might convince me that this might not have been avoidable, maybe, maybe, is if the car was veering left. But according to this graph, it appears that it was veering right. And it was a merge lane to boot. So there was a whole new lane opening up that the car was running into. So something tells me the woman was mostly across the street by the time the car showed up. Distance wise, the car wasn't going extraordinarily fast. Depending on who you ask, it was either going 3 miles above the speed limit or 3 miles below the speed limit. But somewhere between 38 to 40, and that definitely leaves room for stopping if you see something in the distance. And I don't know, with these lights, I think a human could have seen it very much in the distance. But the lidar technology, which might be limited, maybe it didn't see her. So we're gonna have to find out more, but I'm looking at this picture of this road, and that's not looking very good for Uber. That is not looking very good for Uber. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe to you, this actually looks like it helps Uber. And I would love to know. So comment below, like the video, share it if you want to with your friends. If you subscribe, if you haven't, if you really enjoy these videos, consider becoming a Patreon member for as little as $1 a month. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.